Delta and Airbus are collaborating to expand sustainable aviation fuel. And I know we've talked about that a couple of times over the last couple of shows, and to develop hydrogen-powered aircraft. The partnership itself is aiming to reduce the airline's industry carbon footprint and meet environmental goals. Obviously, though, sustainable aviation fuel production scalability, global supply chain readiness remain significant manufacturing hurdles. And I would even throw in there like market adoption. I don't know that that's part of the critical thread, but getting everyone to agree that we're going to use this moving forward. But their joint effort could transform commercial aviation. I'm interested to see how it works.
I'm interested to know about that photograph just then. Why there was a tree in front of a jet.
There was.
It's showing that they're helping save the environment.
Yeah.
Sustainability. And growth and new ideas. And
by planting a tree on the tarmac.
It's a very high level concept, I guess.
Yeah.
So going back to Airbus, that one, and you touched on it, it's scaling sustainable aviation fuel production to meet demand without driving your costs through the roof. That's the big challenge on this. Right now, SAF is more of a kind of a boutique solution. You're right, we do mention it here and there, but it's certainly not a mainstream fuel solution right now. So unless Delta and Airbus can crack that code on cost effectivity, large scale production, this whole initiative is at risk.
Yeah. Making SAF competitive is an undertaking that they're looking to solve with a consortium. They're going to also start doing things like using the flying technique I think we talked about last year of mimicking the way a gander of geese flies. So the uplift created by the lead geese or aircraft is going to help with the fuel efficiency for the next one in line. They're looking at extra performance wings to change the shape of the aircraft. And as Greg mentioned, possibly hydrogen power. So it's not just SAF here. It's a lot of initiatives that are being considered. And how do you work together as a manufacturer and a user of what they're making in order to shape the future? I think the biggest challenge is figuring out how to do that collaboration, how to have a good structure for your two companies to interact, to plan, to transfer data, to talk about results, to make future plans, that talk about how stuff is manufactured and then used. I think collaboration is my number one here.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, but let's be real. Delta and Airbus aren't going to struggle with meetings and planning and getting together. I'm sure they're masters of that. They're going to struggle with fuel production at scale on this one. Your dream of shaping the future is nice, but without a robust supply chain and cost structure, they're going to be stuck shaping press releases in these meetings instead of actual aircraft. So SAF needs to be available. It needs to be affordable and reliable before we even start worrying about how to fine-tune flight formations, as you were talking about a gander of geese or something. I mean, what's going on here? Or designing futuristic wings that we're talking about as well. Right now, the bottleneck is not going to be meetings and planning and collaboration. It's going to be logistics, production, and economic feasibility.
The same, you're making fun of it, but this same article
talked about you can even answer. Come back on it, Ethan.
Talked about how using the flight formation can actually be a 5% increase or a 5% savings in fuel efficiency, which for long flights can actually be huge for helping to save money on fuel. So I know.
So they're going to send off 16 A380s in a gander of geese together, are they?
So I don't know if it's 16, but it is passenger planes trying to fly in a formation. That's one of the things they're trying to consider. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, it does sound like just around the corner from you, Andrew, that Delta is changing their landing flight paths at LAX to save fuel to simulate that. So
they're all coming in together.
Yeah, across all the runways.
I mean, maybe I'm going out on some weird airstream here, but I still think that the data collaboration and using that to help feed these future designs and ideas coming from Airbus that are going to be used by Delta is going to be the number one thing here. It's a situation where the supplier and customer have to be in good communication for data exchanges, data results, feedback loops for testing, real-time collaboration. They're going to have a good, and I didn't say meetings, I said collaboration. There is a difference. They need to have a good way to have a good real-time collaboration platform here.
I like your style on that. I like that whole idea of how this collaboration can work beyond meetings and planning. I agree. I agree. Fixing it. First guess, SCMI.
You're going to go
Supply
supply
chain, isn't
chain
it?
again, yeah.
It's got to be supply chain management integration. Establishing these partnerships with alternate feedstock supplies is going to be crucial. Feedstock suppliers and regional producers to make sure they've got SAF availability at scale. Implement a digital thread between these suppliers and airlines. Then bringing in material planning and inventory management. So build localized SAF production hubs near major airline hubs to cut your distribution costs. Leverage your predictive analytics for SAF production because it's going to be seasonal, isn't it? This whole SAF stuff and regional fuel demands.
That's because migration is a seasonal thing that birds use.
There you go, because they're all going as a gander of geese.
It's great.
Mark my words, Andrew. And under a decade from now, you're going to see airplanes flying in formation for this reason. Commercial airplanes.
It's going to be fascinating if they can do that. Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I do think that Airbus is, regardless of how they do it, right? I think they're capitalizing on maybe some misfortune that one of their largest competitors has had over the last couple of years. We don't need to get on all of that. See you next week.